5 most terrifying psychological thriller films. They'll make you scream. They'll send chills running up and down your spine. They'll make you lose sleep at night. And no, they're not horror movies. The anxiety, suspense, and surprising twists make psychological thriller movies a cinematic treat we couldn't possibly resist. Here are 5 brilliant psychological thrillers of all time. Number 5. The Shining, 1980. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining has and will always be an epitome of what a good psychological thriller should be.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
The film, which is based on Stephen King's equally terrifying 1977 novel of the same name, is extremely disturbing, yet it compels viewers to see more of it. The story revolves around the character of Jack Torrance, an alcoholic deadbeat dad who couldn't get a moment's break out of the unemployment cycle. He brought his whole family up the Colorado Rockies to take an off-season job as a caretaker in a hotel. One of the many things that make The Shining such an exceptional piece is its masterful use of cinematography and music scoring in order to deliver that special kind of creepiness that viewers couldn't simply get elsewhere. The horror factor of this film shines even more in the story itself and its characters, who are trapped in an awfully isolated situation. The American Film Institute ranked The Shining in the 29th place of its 100 Years, 100 Thrills list. Meanwhile, Jack Torrance was named the 25th most notable villain on the Institute's 100 Years, 100 Heroes and Villains.
Here's Johnny!
Number 4. Gone Girl, 2014. David Fincher, touted as the next Alfred Hitchcock, released in 2014 the thriller masterpiece Gone Girl, starring Ben Affleck and Rosamund Pike. This chilling thriller has enough twists and turns that will definitely keep you glued to your seat even after the credits roll. Compared to the novel with Gillian Flynn, from which the movie was based, Fincher decided to take the already unsettling story into a deeper and darker territory. It revolves around the lives of married couple Nick Dunn, Affleck, and Amy, Pike, whose marriage is, for the lack of better word, less than perfect. Dunn becomes the prime suspect when Amy disappeared. The tale quickly became a game of cat and mouse. All the details and clues, peppered throughout the film, will leave the audience asking, who actually did it? The viewers, who are now basically bystanders witnessing a marriage crumbling to pieces, would be hard-pressed to evaluate who's telling the truth, the husband or the wife. Gone Girl went on to receive multiple awards and nominations in different categories, including direction and acting.
Did you kill your wife, Nick?
Number 3. Misery, 1990. The 1990 film Misery is probably one of those movies that perfectly describes the other twisted side of manic fandom. Based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, the movie features the acts of Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes, the #1 fan of romance writer Paul Sheldon, portrayed by James Caan. When Annie discovers that the author killed Misery Chastain, her favorite character, hell breaks loose. After staging a car accident, Annie takes Paul into her home and there holds him hostage. Now that she has him in her grip, Paul was made to write the kind of story according to the mad woman's liking, even more so under a torturous and violent condition. It was a bit surprising to know that Rob Reiner, the director of the film, wasn't exactly experienced in doing thriller films. Good thing though, he's an avid fan of Alfred Hitchcock. To make up for it, Reiner watched and studied every single film of the horror master to prepare for Misery. The result was rather a success. The film garnered several nominations and an Oscar for Best Actress. Number 2. Psycho, 1960. Of course, this list wouldn't be complete without mentioning one of Alfred Hitchcock's greatest creations, Psycho. The truth of the matter is, if anyone understands suspense, it's definitely the English filmmaker, and he did so in a way that would influence much of today's films in the genre. Psycho introduces the character of Marion Crane, Jeanette Lee, who, after stealing $40,000 from her employer, checked into the Bates Motel. There, Marion meets the owner, Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins, who killed her. Yes, Hitchcock killed the main character halfway through the film, an artistic move that no one from that era would even dare to think of. But if you think Psycho is just about the famous 45-second shower murder scene, think again. The rest of the film leads the audience into a much darker, more eerie part of the story, which now focuses on Norman Bates and his continual psychotic decline. Aside from the many accolades it received, Psycho was among those very important films selected for preservation in the National Film Registry. And number 1, The Silence of the Lambs, 1991. People from across generations think highly of the 90s classic thriller, Silence of the Lambs. And it is for some very good and agreeable reasons. For the most part, the film is praised for its distinctive blend of creeping horror, inexplicable level of gore, and psychological thriller factor. It's basically a detective and horror crossover. The film follows an FBI trainee, Jodie Foster, who seeks help from the Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, in catching a serial killer. The relationship between the young agent and the incarcerated cannibal/killer was more than just simply intriguing, as one has to basically hold his breath each time they interact. The Silence won 5 Academy Awards in Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay categories. The American Film Institute went on to name Hannibal Lecter the #1 film villain of all time, and Clarice the 6th greatest film hero of all time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.